You guys are rock stars in my book. So
All right, well, welcome to the future of support. This is what we're going to call all of our town halls from here on out, which which is exciting. And Bant, do you want to say anything about that before I get
Yeah,
going on
so
with anything else?
essentially the role here or the promise here is that we want to get together on a monthly basis, discuss what's been going on with Extendly OS, which is a software piece. Zach, you're switching back and forth on the
Oh, sorry. I'm
driving.
reorganizing my windows.
Yeah, so we want to be able to come here, provide updates, talk about what we're planning in the future. So hence the reason, future of support every first Wednesday at 10 a.m. PST. We'll be here providing you guys all the updates that are happening with Extendly, the software on Extendly's side, which is now called Extendly OS, and as well as our services, the support service and the onboarding, the white label onboarding service as well. And we're asking and requesting feedback because we want to continue to improve our product and services so that we can continue to serve you guys better. So if there's anything you have on your mind, please do let us know. And then there is a special ideas board for all things related to the Extendly OS product which we'll share that I would like to request all of you, even if you're watching this on replay, it's ideas.extendly.com to go there. Tell us what you want to see in the software. What do you want to see from us in the services to be able to improve? That'll help you move your agency forward, and that's what we're here to do.
All right. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. So this is our agenda for today. To Bant's point, we're going to cover kind of special announcements and also just good to knows, so to speak. We'll look at Extendly OS month in review, what's coming next with Extendly OS, managed content inside Extendly OS, and then we'll take a look at managed human rollover metrics and manage onboarding metrics. So jumping straight into the special announcements, Bant, I'm going to let you take this special announcement. So go for it.
Sounds good. So you guys have probably seen me talk about this in the Facebook group and some of our webinars recently, but we've decided to launch a white label of HighLevel ourselves. It's called Wahi AI. The entire concept here is that we want to walk your shoes as well. We want to improve our products and services by doing so. We want to understand what your journey is, what are the hiccups and hurdles and struggles that you're experiencing, experience those ourselves so we can come back and share the improvements with you. Anything that we're going to be doing in that. In this particular case, me personally, I'm taking charge of this, and the initial part of it is an experiment where I am not relying on any of our team members at Extendly or have any other help aside from using Extendly's products and services as a customer. So what we've done is white labeled HighLevel and Extendly's Ultimate AI Agency in a Box snapshot system. Of course, Extendly support service and onboarding service and those are the two things that are combining to launch Wahi AI. And the product and service will be two local businesses. I'm going to document the entire journey there and share all of the learnings from that with all of our customers in hopes that we can help you grow faster and avoid some of the struggles and hurdles that you may be running into. And ultimately, that'll end up improving your products and services as well.
Jumping in the coaching calls, Zach Conant, do you want to speak on this one?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of you probably would have attended these already, and you know about these. For those of you that don't, we have a ton of coaching options in a variety of different, say like variety of different subjects. On Mondays, we have What's New with AI. Bants often in those as well too. And a lot of the times it's the learning from our boot camps that we run, and any AI employee products. On Tuesdays and then Thursdays, we have sales coaching. Charles Higgins is actually one of our team members that does this. I believe you do that on Tuesday, right, Charles?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, yeah. So definitely, definitely utilize those. I'm going to drop the links as well too for these in the chat. And then on Fridays we have snapshot office hours as well too. So of course you can ask about AI items on Friday as well. But lots of items there to be able to get support with the products. And then lastly, any of you, that are newer to GHL, especially if you're getting your agency started, or if you're rebooting your agency as well too, or 4-day boot camp's a great option for that. So what we do with that is GHL 101, where we set up your agency. The second day is Extendly Support Fundamentals, so how to use Extendly Support. Then we set up the SaaSpreneur Quick Start Snapshot, 2 versions of that. One's for your agency and one's for your client. And then the last day is a snapshot Q&A as well too. On top of what you can get on Friday. So that's a really good option. I just put the booking links in the chat there if you guys are ever interested. We have a phenomenal team that runs those every single week.
Yeah, those are free resources, guys, available to all of you. Utilize them, and we're here to help. Show up to those calls. There's plenty of questions that can get answered that you might just be in your head, and you're wondering what to do with them.
All right, jumping on to the ideas portal. We're going to touch on this. Each town hall, just as a reminder for everyone, we're taking a lot of ideas. People are starting to get more and more involved with adding ideas to the portal. It's also great because not only can you add ideas, but you can also see what we're working on. You can see us post announcements when new features come out. You can see our roadmap as well. So what we have in development, what we're working on, what we've released, all that kind of stuff. So you can just jump over to ideas.extendly.com and you can submit ideas there. You can, by the way, you can sign up for that portal using an email address if you'd prefer to do that, or if you already have Extendly OS, you can just log in with Extendly OS as well. Alrighty, so Extendly OS month in review. So first thing we're going to jump into here is news and announcements, new UX. So this is something that we're expecting to actually hit the production environment today. It was supposed to happen yesterday, before today, but it's looking like it's going to be today. So this is a rebuild of our news and announcements feature. It's hopefully adding a lot more clarity. We've had a number of people submit ideas and also express that they were a little bit confused about how news and announcements worked previously. So this is completely restructured. We make it really easy for you to create your own news and your own announcements, as well as go to what you're looking at on the screen now, which we call the content stream, which is a stream of news and announcements that we are publishing every single week, and you can add those to your own content and push those out to your customers so they know what's going on with HighLevel, and you can keep them informed. Of course, it's all white labeled, so we don't mention HighLevel, but you can treat it like your own platform and push updates to them as though you were updating your own platform. So,
Hey,
so
Zach,
that's, yeah, go ahead.
really quick question on that. And if it isn't there, I'll add it to the ideas board. But could we get a search bar in there? Because sometimes I want to search for a particular thing. Has it dropped? And that would be an awesome feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we you probably see here in the screenshot or the little GIF here, we have the intention of having search and filtering in here. The initial kind of release of this, unless the dev team surprises me with search, I don't think the initial release will have search, but we are planning
That's
on
okay.
adding that. So, all right, jumping on the unified widget. So one of the other things that has been a little bit confusing for people, and so we're trying to kind of bring this experience together. Is, you know, folks asking, what's the difference between the Extendly widget and the ChatHQ widget now that we have, you know, acquired ChatHQ and all of that. So in many ways, they're the same widget. We are kind of unifying the experience in one view. So once we release this in your sidebar in Extendly OS, you will not see Extendly widget and engagement. You will just see one link on the sidebar that says widgets, and this is where you'll manage everything widget related. So more work to do on this deeper into the views, but this is the first phase of just bringing the whole widget experience together. So that's coming in the production release today. And then these items have already been deployed to production, so you will see this right now if you go in. But in the forms view, you can now switch to table view. And so just a little bit easier of a way to see all of your forms at once if you have many of them. So you can just click on that little icon there and switch over to table view. And you have all of your forms there in table view. So just a little thing there. The other thing is you can now deassign or kind of like unassign rather forms from sub accounts. So this wasn't something that you could do prior inside of location management. So now we've added the ability if for some reason you want to remove an onboarding form from an account, you can just go in there and remove the form from the account. And then just another little one here is just the ability to rename forms and templates directly from the main forms and templates route. So you can just take action on the Chevron item like you can see here in the GIF and just quickly rename them. All right. I'm about to jump into coming soon. Anybody have any questions about the stuff that I just mentioned before we move on?
I do.
Charles, you got his right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
On the renaming feature, first thing that pops in my head is kind of the same thing we experience on the knowledge base side. If we rename it, is it going to disconnect it from updates? So if you make an update to the small business template, if I have renamed it, will it break that connection for the update or not?
No. So, well, in general, templates don't have a persistent sort of synced connection to forms. So if you make a change in a template, that form that you had created from the template doesn't automatically inherit those changes. The changes have to be made on the form itself. So it's a little bit different than kind of like the content inheritance model that we use in the knowledge area in that regard. So the answer is no. You can rename them and all that kind of stuff, and it won't impact.
All right.
sync.
And if you refresh the template on your side, it'll still refresh the template on my side. I still have to update my forms that I've created from that template, but the template itself will stay unified.
Yeah, the template library, those are always going to be a reflection of the most up-to-date changes that we've added to the templates. So yeah, all of those refresh automatically. But you know, if you've added that template from the template library to your own templates, they're no longer synced. So they're only synced in the library, if that makes sense.
Sounds good. And then with the template, with the forms, location groups.
Yes.
Where's that on the pipeline?
That is, it's not upcoming yet, but I'm in the planning phase for it. So I'll send you over here shortly, Charles, some like designs and stuff and see if that kind of is like what you're looking for. I'm trying to sketch it out right now and get like some UX around it. So as soon as I have it, I'll shoot it over to you. See what you think.
Sounds great. Also on the forums, I spoke to you about this before, but currently, if say we're upgrading from V1 to V2, you've got a existing account that's been an account for a year. You now have switched to V2. You're using the new forms. You have the right form assigned. However, all the fields are blank. They have no idea what's been filled out, what hasn't been filled out, what may or may not be there. The fear from my standpoint is that they go in and, a year later they look at it a little bit different. They might fill out the form differently than what they had originally had, and so they fill it out differently, and it breaks something because that custom value was associated with a number of things that was, it works differently in B2 than it did in B1. Is there anything on the roadmap of, I know we're not doing a live data sync for API issues and OAuth issues, but when we're doing the sync, can we at least pull in the values that are already there? If it fails, it fails, but at some point it should catch it on the retries. So if we could pull it in at that point, and that way they know, oh yeah, I have filled this out. I don't need to fill it out again or mistakenly put something different than I did a year ago.
Yeah, I think we should be able to figure out a way to pull in custom values into those fields that match where there's an existing custom value, and populate that field just so that the customer is able to see what's there, and they can obviously rewrite it and press submit and resync it in with the updated value. But I think Charles is right on that. We should be able to pull it. We should be able to pull in what's already there as well.
Yeah, we can do that. It's not doing that right now, which is probably why you mentioned that, Charles. But that is something we could do as part of our GHL sync service. And we could pull in the custom values, store them in our database, and then show those to the user. So we did actually, and I'm not sure if this is coming in today's production release. I'll need to check, but we do have a change coming in that does two things that address what you're saying, Charles. One is, we are going to show values on the form that we have in our database.
Okay.
So that anyway, so I'll touch on that in just a second. The second thing is, we're making a change that if there's a blank value, it doesn't push a blank string through to the custom value. So right now it's pushing a blank string through to the custom value, which is essentially an overwrite. So if they leave a field blank, then it goes in and overwrites that custom value. So those two things are changing. The challenge comes in syncing our data set with HighLevel's data set in our GHL sync service. So meaning like if somebody makes a change in the form, then we update it in our database, then we push those values to HighLevel. If they then go in and make a change in HighLevel, then we would need to bring that change back and reconcile that with what we have in the database. So we just need to decide, essentially what's the source of truth in that syncing process, because you have data changing in two different places. So anyways,
no, I know, I realize it gets complicated. It's just, that was one of the first things I noticed integrating, setting up the new forms when I went into an account that I knew had been there for a while and every single thing was blank. I was like, oh crap. Because, for those of us that really engaged in the V1, if we were heavy users of V1, we were really pushing and training our clients to say, hey, never go to custom values, always go to the forms to update and change things. And with no pre-existing data in there, it can definitely confuse somebody. But I understand the sync complications. But yeah,
what
anything
we might be able to do is just when the form is first created or something, like bring the values over once, just so they're populated into our database, and then after that we let the form be the source of truth instead of HighLevel or something. But I can sidebar with you on that and figure out kind of like what would work best for you guys, and that would help as well. So
sounds good. I think that's all I got.
all right, I'm gonna jump into what's coming soon. We covered this in the last town hall. This is still coming soon, which is the dashboard analytics. So since the last town hall and this town hall, we've had a few different people kind of look at our mock-ups of the dashboard and got a little bit of feedback as well. So we've made some small changes to the dashboard, mostly to the charts that we're going to display and all of that kind of stuff, just to give people the most helpful charts that they're looking for, as well as just changing a few of the metrics and how those metrics display and all of that kind of stuff. So that's upcoming. Nudges is upcoming. Nudges is a new way that we're articulating for anybody that used ChatHQ prior. We had smart pop-ups and banners. So nudges is more or less a remanifestation of smart pop-ups and banners that we are going to be using in multiple places in the application. So an example of that is the next slide here. So as part of the new news and announcement feature, we're going to be introducing this deployment tab. And what this allows you to do is send news and announcements not just to the widget application, but also to nudges as well. So you'll be able to take a news and announcement and have that pop up, for example, as a modal inside of somebody's HighLevel account, or a banner on the top and the bottom, or cover their widget if you want them to, basically see something that's important before they can do anything else in the widget. So we're working on that right now. That will be available sometime soon as well. Then we have AI discussion history, and so this is that we had kind of a version of this in our V1 that was the UX, was maybe a little bit clunky. So we've rebuilt this to be a lot easier to use. We didn't have a version of AI, pardon me, we did not have a version of AI history ever in V1. We did have a version of human conversations that were going on in V1. So uh, part of what we're working on right now is we're going to have the ability to see AI chats, so chats that your white label customers are having with the AI, as well as the human conversation. So on the screen here, what you're seeing is a chat that they're having with an AI, and then that little purple window is an example of an AI chat that turned into a human conversation. And so what you can do is kind of preview the human conversation, or you can actually go directly to the human conversation from within the AI kind of chat room, so to speak. So this is the human conversation, and in the human conversations, the initial version of this will just be live chats, but we'll have eventually tickets as well in here, so you can visualize the ticket interactions that are happening with our support team. And if that interaction within live chat was something that originated in the AI, where the user started with an AI conversation and then went to a human conversation, you have that little button in the upper right-hand corner called View AI Discussion, and you can go from the human conversation kind of back up to the AI conversation. So before I move on to the white label knowledge base updates, any questions on any of that stuff that's upcoming? I see you got your hand, Charles. Go ahead.
I never have questions. Okay, so onboarding calls. So this goes along with the analytics and the stuff that you're bringing in to the B2 dashboard. Onboarding calls. I would love to be able to not only view but download, export those videos easily. A absolute dream. I'd give you a big old kiss is if I could integrate it and sync those calls with a third-party service. So think like Google Drive. So I could automatically sync any call that gets stored in there. I could connect my Google Drive and it automatically syncs into my Google Drive for permanent storage, or give access to additional team members that maybe I don't want them in the Extendly OS, but I do want them to have access to that for whatever reason, or any other services that you could think of that might seem useful. Google Drive, the media library, and HighLevel, using Loom. I'm not sure if their API allows for uploads, or some of the other video services to where we could store those videos for our own purposes, would be awesome. But I understand that that is asking for a hell of a lot. So but just the ability to at least download and export easily, like one button click download, that would be nice.
Yeah, so so a couple things on that. First, the very first version of the dashboard analytics that we release are going to be focused on the conversation stuff, so the AI and the human conversations. So the alpha version of the dashboard won't have the onboarding just yet, but you saw probably the onboarding section kind of scaffold built
Yep.
in the GIF. So we have the front end
Sure did.
UX for that. We're just basically getting the back end together. And on the video side, I'm 98% on this. We're pretty certain we're going to use Loom to host the onboarding calls. So then you can just download it from there, as well as obviously get the transcript and all that kind of stuff. Just makes it easy. So
Awesome.
so that'll be coming shortly after the dashboard, and then after that, and this is a little ways out still, is automations, and that's a whole thing, you know, obviously. But in the automations, the idea is you can trigger on any major events that are happening in your account. So, you know, form submissions, like onboarding calls, like anything that the users are doing, like new chats, you know, all sorts of different things, and then trigger actions and other platforms and stuff. So that's a little ways out, but it's on the roadmap. So
And
Sounds good.
also in regards to onboardings, there will and the aside from the analytics, there will all be billing information available as well. How many credits you have left there, how many and where the credits were used, when they were used, when the last onboardings were, and the ability to add in additional credits yourself.
Awesome. Since you brought up chat and tickets, so chat also would like the ability to download and export a chat conversation. This could go into chargebacks. Like there's a lot of different use cases where we may need those chat transcripts. You know, legal action, chargebacks, whatever it may be. So just having the ability to maybe even search by the contact or the user and be able to see all their chats and be able to download those for whatever reason.
talking about just the human side or the AI side as well?
I would say just the human side. I don't think AI would go very far in any kind of action of any kind. But if if the human side there, if there was ever a dispute of any kind, legal action, chargeback or whatever, it's just a great way to be able to add more evidence and, support to, hey, we did our job. We did what we said we were going to do. So anything that can help protect us as agencies on that. So having that just download and export, even if it's just plain text, like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Download as a PDF or even just as a TXT file. At least there's some kind of record there of
Would a CSV file work?
CSV may work. CSV you can pretty much manipulate into anything that you want, but whatever makes it easiest to be able to get those chat transcripts, I could just see where it could come into play in certain scenarios. So
that shouldn't be too hard. Can you add an idea if you haven't in the portal for that one, and I'll put it on the roadmap. That one's pretty easy.
And then to build upon that, this may not be so easy. So being able to add a task. So in my agency sub account, if you could add a task in my agency sub account for that contact, if given a thumbs down. So as an agency, I can go back and I have a task to follow up with that customer to see. We expect support to do it, but also if you're, a good agency owner, you would want to go back and check on it yourself. So if there was some way to do that, or just a clear area in the dashboard to where we could see, and maybe where we could assign a user within Extendly OS, saying, okay, doesn't make a lot of sense. There's issues with trying to do this in HighLevel. Maybe the contact doesn't exist or whatever. There's a lot of complications. If you could offer it in the Extendly OS to where we could add, let's say Tiana's, on my team, and I just have her as a team member in Extendly OS, and it creates a task, and I set up, hey, who do I want these tasks to go to? I said Tiana, and that way she just goes into Extendly OS. She sees all the thumbs down, and she can reach out as a rep of the agency admin team. So I just
Yeah, that makes sense.
see that as a valuable secondary touch point.
Would a initial, just thinking of like an initial version of that we could get out sooner, and then we could always add like automations later,
Just
or
expose it.
further down the line. Yeah, could we like set up a filter or something inside of
Yep.
the conversation history, so you could at least filter by the thumbs down conversations, and then work
Yep.
on setting up tasks for you and stuff? Okay, cool.
Yeah, because any of us that have looked at the chat, a lot of times the thumbs down aren't necessarily because the agent did something wrong. It's because the user just could not communicate clearly what the heck they were asking. And even those of us that are experienced, we look at it and we're like, well, I can't even make heads or tails of that.
Yeah.
So and we just want to be able to follow up with them to make sure that they're happy. So yeah, just exposing that either as a filter or a segmented list, thinking high level smart list of thumbs down, I think would be beneficial to people.
Okay.
And basically the same thing on tickets. When ticket integration comes in, being able to download, export tickets, and then also same thing, it would probably be more beneficial on I'm thinking on notes, in contacts, because if I'm in my agency sub account and I'm following up with a customer, I can see in the notes how many tickets they've had. I can see the ticket. Like, I don't need all the ticket information, maybe just where the information from when they originally created the ticket and the ticket number. So at least I say, oh, well, I'm fixing to reach out to them for a customer satisfaction or ask them for a review, but I see they opened up a ticket 2 days ago. Maybe I should go check on that ticket before I ask them for a review.
If we sent you initially a just a webhook payload that you could catch in HighLevel with the contact ID in that particular event, would that work? So that way you could
I think so. Yeah.
You could basically decide however in HighLevel you want to manifest it, whether it's adding it to a note or a custom field or whatever you want to do from there.
Yeah, and I just think it's just a way for the agencies that want to be more involved and more customer focused. It just puts it where they need it. And right where they're already taking action, following up with people and things like that. And if we push it to a custom webhook, works good because I may put it in notes, Melissa may put it in a custom field and say, okay, if this custom date field is within the last 30 days, I don't want to put them in this workflow or whatever. It may be an exclusionary for her system and her setup. So
yeah, those are the types of things that would be clutch to have custom workflow actions for at some point or another. But anyway,
yeah,
but that sounds good. Love it.
That's it.
Okay. Alrighty. And we could do some more Q&A too. If anybody else has anything at the end, we have a little Q&A slide. But Tiana, do you want to jump in on I see that you're here. Do you want to talk about the knowledge base stuff?
Yeah. So for the knowledge base, we are keeping it up to date as always with the GHL changelog updates. But in the last 30 days, we've added QA pairs to every article in the knowledge base, and those QA pairs are going to be really important because it improves the search results within the knowledge base so that people are able to locate articles easier. And it also will improve the AI bot's ability to respond more effectively in conversation, pulling from the knowledge base. What we're doing, we are consistently keeping up to date with the GHL changelog, trying to make sure that those articles get in within a week of the release. And then those QA pairs will continue to be added to the new articles that get created and then updated as well if there is a change that's been made that would impact one of our QA pairs. And then for the news and announcements, we are consistently making those posts as well. And in the last 30 days, there was 32 news and announcements posts.
How many new features and stuff HighLevel pushes out? Like on 32. That's awesome. Thank you, Tiana. Zach Conans, you want to jump in on the manage human rollover stuff? I can keep control of the slides if you'd like.
Sounds good. Do we want to quickly answer Charles's question?
Oh yes, he has a hand again.
It's two quick questions.
I don't say that in a bad way, so I feel like my tongue was that. No, Charles, you have the floor.
Go ahead.
So two things on the knowledge base. So originally when it first released, there was an issue with the Q&A pairs. There was a hack that was going around that if you went in, you put a space, you saved, and then you could generate the Q&A pairs. It was just a bug that was happening when it first rolled out. However, inadvertently, I know that it also disconnected it from the sync because now it is a manual knowledge base article. What are the plans on exposing whether it is synced, or like, can we get a green light or red light on the article or something to know if it's actually connected or not to the master?
Yeah, we'll do that. We're currently rebuilding the knowledge base UX in general, which I know you've had a few comments on as well, Charles, as far as just like the front end of it, also. So the portal side and the front end, we're rebuilding the UX for, and part of the new UX is that idea of just making it apparent whether or not you are still connected to master or you've branched that article out into its own kind of entity, so to speak. That one's a little tricky to figure out how to make like easy for people to understand, but it's definitely better than not having not knowing whether it's synced or not. So
yeah, I mean, a green light, red light, or synced, or custom, not synced. Some kind of indicator, just letting the end user know that what's going on with it. Because right now, if you weren't using, essentially, if you weren't using Chat HQ knowledge bases, you probably don't even know that that's a thing.
yep.
So that's why I bring it up. The other thing, so I know you guys are following the change log. However, I recently discovered that HighLevel has a RSS to their knowledge base. I don't know the RSS. I wish I did. But are we looking to their knowledge base as they've updated articles or created new articles? Because oftentimes they may create an article or update an article based on a small feature update that may not even hit the change log.
Typically, and Tiana, you can jump in if this is like different than what you've seen, because I know you have the most resonant knowledge on this, but I think and from my observation, the inverse of that is true, meaning their knowledge base is frequently out of date with what they've released to the changelog. So they're releasing to the changelog all the time. Every tiny little thing that they push out, they release to the changelog. They do that in a very disciplined manner. They do not seem to update their knowledge base in the same manner. So we do have an RSS feed set up to the changelog, and we kind of run our own operation on the knowledge base, irrespective of whatever they're doing to their knowledge base. So every changelog item that comes out, we evaluate whether or not that means that an article should be updated or a new article should be created. And if any of what I just said is BS, Tiana, please let me know.
No, I would agree that they do it for like every tiny thing, and that the knowledge base, like when you look at their knowledge base, it isn't consistently updated, but typically when they release an update that also gets an update to their knowledge base, they'll link the help doc as well. So that's something that's automatically kind of connected in there.
I just know that there's been, and it's definitely not every department. Most departments, I would agree with you. I know the telephony department, they've been making updates to their knowledge base articles, independent of the change log.
Okay.
Same thing with AI, because there's so many little things that are changing. Stuff going into beta, stuff going into labs. Like they've been making some changes in their knowledge bases and just updating them. And sometimes on things that haven't even been released. It's not every department.
Yeah,
I,
that makes sense.
I'm totally with you that, I mean, for the vast majority of the departments, yeah, they're horrible at creating knowledge-based articles, but there are a handful of departments that really do try to stay on top of it. And so I just recently discovered that HighLevel, I guess at some point, did generate an RSS for their knowledge base. Like I said, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find out. If I find out, I'll let you know.
Yeah, if you
But
find out,
if you find
send
out,
it
let
to
me
us.
know. That's
Yeah,
all
we'll
I
send it
ask.
to you too. We'll
Sounds good.
if we
I'll
can
check
if we
those.
can
Oh, sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say if we can grab the RSS stream for that too, we'll just add that to our
Just a
we
redundancy.
have like a flow that runs, every time those RSS updates come in, so we could just Tiana, we could just add that other RSS stream to that as well and check both of those things. Because that makes total sense that that's consistent with the way they do things in the sense that
Yeah.
team A and team B are doing it different ways. So we'll have to check that.
Sounds good. Steve, do you have a question?
I do. Just a quick question on knowledge base and the rest of the tools. I noticed that we can now add members or invite members. So what does that allow the members to do?
Right now, everything. So right now everybody in Extend the OS is an admin. So you can add other members. They're gonna have more or less the same permissions as you, with the exception of they cannot remove members. Like they can't remove an owner of the account. So that's the main exception. But other than that, they have full access to do everything else in Extend the OS that you have access to do. So manage widgets, manage knowledge base, manage news and announcements, all the things.
In the future, do you plan on locking that in some way, or?
We do, yeah. We plan on introducing just a deeper permissioning system so that you
Cool.
can kind of assign permissions to people in there.
Yep, that's cool. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
All right, awesome. So I'll jump into human rollover. Specifically, we'll chat about our support and our white label onboarding services. I'll make this a little quicker just so we have time for enough Q&A at the end as well too. But just as like an overall theme, our May theme has definitely been us hitting ticketing SLAs, which we are looking at tightening up, and then Extend the OS support. So just getting more support for when we have questions, especially with all of our new features. It's been coming a lot faster, which makes it that our agents have to be that much better as well too. You go to the next slide there, Zach. So last month, so in May, we had a 94% CSAT with our chat support. On a side note, our enterprise hit 96. So, few of our larger clients and people that are on enterprise had a little bit of a bump there, but overall we've been hitting our targets achieved on that compared to industry average, which is around 78. It's always good to keep that in mind as well too. Obviously, we're trying to be the best of the best. On the first time response, we were at 61 seconds. That was 3 seconds longer than the previous month. So a little bit of a bump with some spikes in volume, but still within the margin for error that we want. And then as for tickets go, so on response times, our first response and second response, I shouldn't say second response, or any subsequent response. Currently our SLA is 24 hours. We're hitting that right now 93% of the time. And then our second response is coming at 97.4% of the time that we're hitting those SLAs. We're looking at doing two things, obviously maintaining that, that high SLA percentage, but also tightening up the SLAs as well too. We've seen a major improvement on that, especially, in the last year. Then our resolution SLAs have been 97%. That's a little different per type right now, but for the most part, it is 24 hours. Typically, obviously, tickets do get responded faster than that. There are some that go longer. We are looking at mainly focusing on those outliers. Those outlier tickets are the ones that, can potentially cause churn. They can potentially, be an issue for your client. So those are the ones we're mainly focused on. Obviously, getting that quick response is important, but those outliers are the big ones. Go to the next one, Zach. And then there's A2Ps. I think we spent a lot of time on A2Ps on the last call. It's status quo, which is awesome. So there hasn't been much change. In May, we did 497 with a 98% approval rate. Now, I'm just going to drop our change log here in the chat. It also has the most recent snapshot in it as well, too. It's also in learn.getextendly.com in the course. Now, this has been a ton of work from the team, and they've created a really great funnel. I would suggest you go through it. It really walks you step by step in getting approved on this. So our team uses this funnel as well, too. We follow the same processes. So I definitely would highly suggest that you download the new version as well. Go to the next slide. And then as managed onboarding goes, you can go to the next one here, Zach. So managed onboarding just has some process changes. Probably most of you who do use this service will be pleasantly surprised that we've had a next day for quite a while, and actually a lot of same day. This is a screenshot I took this morning here of availability. So if one of your customers booked, they would have been able to book literally, after this call, which is awesome. We've been working really, really hard on that, just to make that lag a lot shorter, just so that the chances of you being able to provide that awesome experience is much higher. And then we have added, just to go back there, sorry, Zach. We have also just added some more standardization to more of the GHL AI tools. So as GHL is coming out with new features, our team's adding some more standardization. So if you're filling out your SOPs and you don't know exactly how you want the team to onboard, we do have some good standardized ones that I would highly suggest for those of you that aren't using those AI tools yet. And then that CSAT was at 94%, 94.1. We've been at 100 for quite a few months in the past, so we are trying to get that climbing back up. We're getting closer though. And then of course, we're not done yet. Always optimizations. We're gonna have a Q&A period coming up in a second, but just one more reminder that ideas.getextendly is another spot where we'd love to hear your feedback. And I think that's all the updates that we have for right now.
All right. Back to QA. So anybody that has any questions on anything that we've covered today, or something that we haven't covered, feel free to drop it in the chat or raise your hand and turn on your mic and your camera and all that, and we can be happy to answer it.
I got a question, Zach.
What do you want?
We've built in our onboarding and doing it not our onboarding, the A2P, and we've got it in a process that we do. It'd be nice to not have to do that. Do you guys, if I say, hey, I've got this, you guys go do the A2P for it and give you this stuff? Or is that if they go and go on the chat widget and ask for help with A2P?
This is what I would suggest. So definitely based off the last snapshot that we built, it is very step by step, and it's made to a point where it is spoon fed that your clients could do it themselves, or you could do it, of course. That's what we suggest first. That's gonna be the quickest. If there's anything that doesn't work, if there's any rejection, and you can use this in your sales pitch as well too, right?
Okay.
And that, hey, this can be a little finicky, sometimes it doesn't work, but hey, we have an awesome support team that if you don't get approval, then they're going to be on it. They're going to help troubleshoot for you. That would be my recommendation.
All right, you had said, oh, we handled this many, and I thought, oh, if you guys are doing it, that's perfect.
For sure. No worries.
Yeah, I think the A2Ps are he mentioned are that are coming through the onboarding team, the white label onboarding team. Those are handled on behalf of the customer. The reason you can't, or there'll be a little bit of an issue for you to pass it to us versus the customer directly coming to us, is the collection of the information. That's the biggest roadblock, that there's a lot of information that's required. But the snapshot that Zach mentioned, there's a step-by-step process in there to collect all the information that they need to provide, which makes it so much easier for them to And you can do that with them on a call and say, hey, let's go through this real quick and collect this is the information we need. Once that's done, then after that, it's fairly easy.
Well, now I haven't done one in the last couple of weeks, but now they have to like get on camera and stuff or something too. So I liked handling it for them before, but now if they have to do the camera thing, they really got to do it themselves, don't they?
Yeah, even we can't help in that. It
Okay.
has to be done by them. That's only if they're registering as sole prop, or if
Oh,
they're using like a Gmail or a Yahoo as an email address instead of a company email address. Those are the two times it'll trigger for it to provide identity verification.
okay. I thought it was on everyone. Thank you. That changes it. All right.
Yeah, just those two items.
Check out the funnel. It's dialed. It's the team did a really good job with it. It, like edits, like, you know, moves custom values for you. You know, gives some really great options for pages if, you know, they don't have their website, you know, quite figured out. So it's really, really good.
I'll vouch for it too, Mom.
All right.
All right. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any other questions for us.
Well, if nobody else is going to say anything.
Let's go.
I
Charles.
know you can count on me for a question. I'll ask something.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
looking for my virtual hand, so I couldn't find it. But is WLO@getextendly.com the correct email to use to reach out if we have questions about setting up the onboarding?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I
And
will
what's this?
also throw the
What's
link
the
to
SLA on that?
course.
Because I sent an email and I was just curious how long it'll take to get a response.
24 hours, usually quite a bit faster though.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Charles.
All right.
If no one's talking, I'm just gonna call out Charles.
Okay, so I know there's been talks about creating your own ticketing system, getting out of the current ticketing system at some point. Is there I guess what I'm asking is, where's the goalpost? Is it, hey, we want to try to get this done by end of Q4 or Q1 of next year? I mean, obviously it is a huge project and it's nothing that can be done lightly. But just trying to get, you know, where's that long-term vision at? Where's the goalpost?
I wanted it done Q4 of 2024.
I hear you.
But I'll let Zach answer that one.
I love how the Zacks are all of a sudden very quiet when it comes to this question.
We'll focus on building the time machine first.
So I've been speaking with the team about this over the last week, and you know, we more or less have kind of like two main options in front of us. One of them takes longer than the other, likely, and the timeline is a bit unknown. So the two options are we build a custom conversation provider in HighLevel, which we can use for live chats and tickets. In which case, like, those would then be able to be served up in the universal inbox inside of HighLevel. If we do that, also we could also leverage you know, custom objects if needed for, you know, like tickets specifically and stuff. And that one, the timeline on that is shorter. That's something that there's feasibility behind us being able to go end to end on that in Q3. The other option is completely custom, ticketing and live chat. And there is a little bit of overlap with those, which gets into the technical weeds a tiny bit, but we either way we have to stand up our own WebSocket server, and so if we do the HighLevel option, we get it a little bit faster. We get to stand up a WebSocket server, and then we can also use that for full custom. So kind of the running thought in my mind, at least, is that most likely what I'm leaning towards here is going high-level custom conversation provider first, because that at least gets us something that people can use, to manage their own human rollover, manage their own tickets like directly inside HighLevel. For a majority of agencies that are doing, let's say, like moderate volume, for those that are more like enterprise or doing high volume, and they have more kind of like enterprise functions, that they're used to in sort of like an enterprise human rollover and ticketing solution, such as like having various different agents that do different things and supervising conversations and chats and tickets and all that kind of stuff. Some of those like more advanced features are going to be difficult inside of like a high-level conversation provider, but as you all know, you can still HighLevel still has a lot of that stuff built in as far as like assignment goes and stuff like that inside of their universal inbox. And so anyway, so that's kind of the idea on the strategy at this point in time is we'll probably do that first, and that'll already get us kind of like halfway there to the full solution of going completely custom, but that gives people the opportunity to have something in their hands, sometime in Q3, versus having to wait longer. So
it's good to know. I will say that it's somewhat just knowing how the marketplace and the custom integrations currently work, the inherent issues that they're having on that side of the table, that they just can't seem to fix, and they have no idea where the goalpost is to get it fixed. It's somewhat concerning to hear custom conversation and objects, because even on the object side, we have very limited automations that are even available. They're working on it, stuff's rolling out, but so it's a little bit, right now you're limited to 3 custom objects. You can currently request to get more than 3. And so you have a limitation there. So I don't know. I guess, I mean, I get how it would be a little faster to the goalpost, than building full custom from the ground up. I guess my head's in the space of the middle ground is, what open source, frameworks have been explored to be able to at least have a good base that you can build on top of. And so it's not fully custom from the ground up. It's not reliant on HighLevel marketplace or anything that might involve
that would be the
kind of mess
benefit.
over there. It just kind of sits in the middle. It gets you a good starting point that you can then build on top of, from it being an open source framework. So the bones are there. You just got to build the, branches.
One thing to kind of, and this is, sort of pulling back the curtain a little bit into just what's going on, but the engineering team in this sprint, which they just started this week, is doing a few research tasks on custom conversation providers, to come back to me and let me know what the level of effort would be if we went down that route. And the only, like, those trade-offs that you just mentioned are like there's a lot of pressure on that trade-off. And so where I'm going with this is, like, if they come back to me and say, okay, yeah, we can get custom conversation providers in like a month or something like that, then that to me is worth considering, even with HighLevels, OAuth challenges and stuff. If they come back and say like it's going to take a majority of Q3 or something like that, then my thought process is probably not worth it. We
But
already have.
at the same time, I would say this, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but if you tell me, say, hey, we can have this solution for you ready in a month, but in 6 months' time, we're going to end up changing it because it doesn't scale to the way that we need to. I'd rather, but you say, hey, if we don't even do this, we can have an even better solution out to you in 3 to 4 months. I would happily wait the 3 to 4 months
That's
to
good to
not
know.
have to change again. Because inevitably, I mean, because the goal is to get it all into Extendly OS and
That
then
is the goal.
integrate with HighLevel as much as possible. I would rather not change twice, because that requires me training my staff again, possibly training customer behavior, and it's just changing SOPs, and it's a lot. And so if you said, hey, if we go this route, we can get you a solution, within 30 days, end of this push. However, we're still not where we want to be. So in 6 to 8 months, we'll be where we want to be with the final solution. That's going to be something totally different. You say, hey, if you give us the grace and say, you know what, don't even worry about this intermediate solution, just focus on the end goal. And I have to wait 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months for that. I would much rather wait and just know that it's coming, and I'm not gonna have to deal with an intermediate solution, because it just pulls. I mean, for me, I would feel bad for the dev team, because as issues come up with the temporary solution, it pulls them away from the final project. So it just delays it even more. So that's just my view on it. I'd rather change once, not twice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's good to know. I'll really take that in consideration when I haven't made a decision yet. But the trade-off would have to be, really, really advantageous. I'll put it that way, to go with the HighLevel route. But pretty much everybody on our team is on board with the idea of decoupling from HighLevel as much as possible, just because of everything that you mentioned. So
Yeah, you're keeping the ball in your court. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So that's good to know. I mean, it's good to know that research is coming up in the sprint, and everything, because it'll affect Extendly OS significantly moving forward. So, all right, I'm done nerding out. The only other thing I'll say, and this goes to Melissa's point, I sent it to you in a message, Zach, but one thing that I've brought up numerous times is the ability for a agency to be able to create tickets on their client's behalf seamlessly. And so, like in Melissa's point, instead of the disconnect comes in if with the A2P, she's like, okay, I want Extendly to do this. Like I tried to do it with the customer. She wants to offer exceptional service. So she wants to be able to hand it off to the support. The problem is it's being created by her. And so from that point on, she's always tied to that ticket in the replies. She has to CC the customer, and she's always tied into it, where she may just want to say, hey, I just want to hand it off. Like, I just want to act as the customer and do it on their behalf, and not have to look at it, and just deal with the customer, like make the customer happy. I just want to raise the concern as an agency owner. If there's, if there was some way to do it within Extendly OS, even as a temporary solution, like if you could build out a form of some kind, that way you have our information. You can associate it within Freshdesk somehow and say, okay, it's coming from this agency in Extendly OS. We know which agency it is. We know which user is submitting it. And maybe you can tie that back to the records that are associated in Freshdesk. And so that way, if an agency owner gets an email or whatever it may be, they just want to raise a ticket, they can do it seamlessly. It's created as if the customer created it themselves. So all communication from that point is just with the customer and support, and the agency owner can step back from it and know that it's taken care of.
That makes sense.
So the idea there is, I want to be able to raise a ticket, but I don't want to be involved in the back and forth of it. That just goes, I'm going to tell my customer, hey, I'm going to open up this ticket for you, and our support team will take care of it. And then
Right.
it's delegated to the support team, and the support team's going back and forth. And me as an agency owner, or Melissa in this case, is out of
Right.
the.
But I still want to be able to go back and see how it was resolved. in
Yeah,
case
she can still
something-
go in and see the
Yeah.
ticket and see what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, just how she does now. She can go into the ticketing dashboard and view the ticket. It's just not putting her on the ticket. And so right now, you know, you either have to make the customer do it, or you do it yourself, and now the ticket's assigned to you. And you know, it's just where there's so many different possible scenarios. It can get somewhat confusing to support agents, which I totally understand. When you're trying to explain a problem, and then you're like, hey, I want you to create this ticket, but you know, because even if we go into chat, the agent can't create a ticket on the behalf of the client. They can only create a ticket on behalf of the person that is in chat.
That is chatting, yeah.
So now there's a way around that, but it's, you have to be very careful, because you have to essentially log in as a user and then do a hard refresh the chat session, so it totally clears out all cache of the chat from when you were logged in as yourself, start a chat as the customer, and then ask for a ticket to be started. But that's kind of a convoluted workaround. And then the other one is just a nightmare for you guys, where we email you and you have to manually parse the email and create a ticket, which is just, that's a lot of work. So if there's a way to do it within Extendly OS, that way at least you have some information about who's submitting the ticket, and you can associate that with their agency in Freshdesk, and maybe try to match a user. You know, require an email from us. You know, we need, who are you creating this for? I'm creating it for Melissa Blair. Here's her email, here's her contact ID, whatever information that you need to best serve the chance of matching it with a contact that already may exist in Freshdesk. And that way we can just create it on their behalf and move on with our day. Because we all, I mean, I know Melissa, I know Steve, you know, most of us have support emails that are kind of like that catch-all. If all else fails, is going to end up in support email. The problem is some of that stuff, they send it there, and then they really shouldn't be sending it there, but that's the least path of resistance for them, so they do. And we're like, this just needs to get handled by the support team. I may be out of town, you know,
That
or
actually
otherwise
shouldn't be
busy.
too hard to do. I can put that together and extend the OS. Just have like a form, to your point. As long as you'd be okay with the interim still being, you know, like you have to go to the ticketing portal to view progress and stuff like that. But creating, like opening the ticket and raising it on behalf of a customer, we already have the list of, you know, all the sub accounts and extend the OS. So
Right.
you could just set up a form, you select the sub account that you're raising the issue for, and then we fire that off to Freshdesk and create the ticket.
I think that would be a good solution.
That'd be a big help for us. We have Austin who handles the support, and so a lot of people have just gotten used to going to Austin, and I want to
Yep.
free Austin up to do some other stuff. And so if he could put that ticket in on their behalf, and it just kind of, that would be really helpful.
Okay, cool. I love that. I didn't even honestly like consider that use case. So I'm really glad that y'all brought that up. That's helpful. I don't know why I didn't consider that. It makes total sense.
You're welcome. I'll send you an invoice.
All right, I think this is probably the right time to call it off then.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're done. Yep. No more Charles. Crazy ideas.
All right, sounds good. Any Anyone else with any last questions before we adjourn for till we meet next month?
I'll just say I appreciate everything you guys do. Love watching you on your new journey beyond with launching the agency. It's fun seeing you go through that and re-experience some of that stuff in a different view perhaps. So it's but it's
I'm glad it's you and not me.
right. Yeah.
The same issues that Charles is bringing up in like a month.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. See?
I don't want that to be
I'm just looking out for you, Beyond. That's all I'm doing. I'm just looking out for you. So, but no, I just really appreciate you guys very much. And I'll tell you, having recently switched over and upgraded to enterprise, if you're a larger agency, I'm telling you, if you've never learned about enterprise, you should at least have a call to learn about it, because it is a huge difference. Just having that dedicated call, see how you're doing, see if you need anything, having that account rep and dedicated agents, and it's a lot of benefit, especially if you're a larger agency or have very intricate, have to be a certain way. Definitely check it out. So appreciate everything that you guys do. And yeah.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Just be sure to use my affiliate link. That's all.
What do they charge for that, or do you not want to tell me?
I don't. Every case is
Money's
different.
no option
So
when you're
yeah, I
Charles.
mean, well, no. So enterprise is, it's really it's more personalized than anything.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that I love about it the most, is that it is very hyper personalized, and that being able to, there's just certain things that as you start to scale, there's certain ways that you want chats handled, and having a set group of people that, hey, these are enterprise chat agents, they're used to looking, and you can prioritize things in your SOP for chat. And so it's like, okay, I want it handled this way every single time. If this happens, don't ever do this instead. And it kind of goes against the norm. That in itself is just, it takes so much work off of you as an agency, because you're not trying to find alternate solutions to get around it. You're able to fix it at the very beginning and put it in place. And
it's more, it's more like, having your own team members and you training them in-house. It's very, very similar to that. And they're the dedicated agents that are looking at your account and your conversations from your customers on a regular basis. So they get to learn about your agency, know how to handle things on your behalf. It's definitely not recommended for the startup agencies or smaller agencies, unless you've got
we're small.
team, because it starts at $3,500 per month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nope.
just have Stephanie pay for it.
Yeah, true.
Stephanie's like, what?
What?
Hey, she put a roof over your head for how many years?
Yeah.
gotta come
According
for
to her, I
something.
was a happy accident, so that's her fault.
You were a gift from God.
Stop the live streaming. We're fixing to get into some family drama here.
Never.
No.
Never.
No.
All right, guys.
No. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Amazing rest of the day. Thank you for attending here, and we will see you next time.
You guys.
See you.
Bye, guys.